All right, man, peace. So it seems as though a pair of late season injuries may put the playoff runs of the Golden State Warriors and the Boston Celtics into serious jeopardy. Both teams' superior level point guards, Steph Curry and Kyrie Irving, respectively, have both gone down with what seem to be very serious knee injuries. Of course, they're going to talk about it, and I'm going to chime in.
Max,
Yep.
which team's more likely to get bounced in the first round, Golden State or Boston?
The answer is Golden State.
I agree. I agree that Golden State has a far higher chance to get knocked out of the first round than the Boston Celtics do. Just from what I've seen from them, when Steph Curry's been out of the lineup, Kevin Durant, as usual, is showing that he is not an alpha male. He is not a leader of a team, as talented and as gifted as he is. That's why I've stated that if Golden State somehow loses him in the free agency market this offseason, don't be surprised to see Kevin Durant land with the LA Lakers, along with possibly LeBron James and Paul George. Wouldn't shock me at all.
More likely to get bounced in the first round without Steph than Boston is without Kyrie. I know what that sounds like. I don't think either one is going to get bounced. They should, but
Yeah, me neither. I mean, if I had to put money down on it, I would say that they will both get out of the first round. But would it shock me to see the Warriors go out in the first round to the Utah Jazz or the Minnesota Timberwolves or even the OKC Thunder or even the San Antonio Spurs? No, it would not. Not without Steph Curry. That team is very different without Steph Curry. Steph Curry provides them with a lot of leeway, provides them with a huge buffer because of the fact that he's one of the few players in the NBA who can give you 30 points on less than 20 shots consistently. Curry can come out there and have a game where he gives you 30 points on 14 shots, 13 shots. His level of proficiency really alleviates the pressure that is on the rest of his teammates to score. He opens up the floor so much because you always have to watch him. And then he's an excellent finisher. So it's not even like you can have his defender just face guard him, because once he gets the basketball, he can dribble past his defender and score at the rim. He has the highest conversion percentage at the rim of any guard in the NBA. He was on a pace to set a true shooting percentage mark before he went down. Now, Kyrie Irving and the Boston Celtics, they're in a little bit of a different dilemma because their expectations are not quite as high, but that team has shown greater grit than the Golden State Warriors have shown thus far this season. Even though Kyrie has been out, the Boston Celtics have shown a great deal of fight that I have not seen from Golden State. Even before Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green went down, they've shown that they will fold under pressure. The Golden State Warriors have, especially if the opposing team gets physical with them.
But I really believe that's the case. Golden State has to play the T-Wolves right now if the playoffs started today. And Boston would play the Bucks. Now, the Bucks heading into the season looked like a formidable obstacle, but it hasn't exactly turned out that way, Thon Maker.
I think that the Milwaukee Bucks are a wild card. I could see Boston losing to any one of the possible teams that they could face in the first round because their margin for error is so small. When it comes to Golden State, it's more of a mental issue. Who's going to run the offense? Is it going to be Draymond? Are they going to try to change Kevin Durant's role while Steph Curry's out? Are they going to ask Klay Thompson to step up? In the offseason, Klay's going to have to work on his off-the-dribble offensive game. He can't just restrict himself to being a player who scores off the catch. He has to expand his game a little bit because in cases when Steph goes down, he has to step into that role. Bottom line. Particularly since it is a possibility, and I know that no one's broaching it right now, but it's a possibility, at least for me, that Kevin Durant could leave.
Stephen A., I'll leave that to you. Golden State has to play the T-Wolves. Now, the T-Wolves have been getting busy without Jimmy Butler, who is expected back for the...
They've been okay without Jimmy Butler. Adding Jimmy Butler back into their lineup will help them, but that team has some chemistry issues. As I've already stated in a previous video, I believe stemming from the coach and also the fact that Andrew Wiggins is a little bit aggravated that Jimmy Butler's taking a lot of his shine. He's not going to say it, but I believe that that's how he feels. Very similar to how Kyrie may have felt playing under LeBron James. I think that Andrew Wiggins is frustrated with the fact that Jimmy Butler was brought in, and he's taken away a lot of the potential that Andrew felt like he had to let his flower bloom. He's in his early 20s. This is a time period where he's supposed to be trying to show everyone in the NBA what he can do. He's making a lot of money. He has yet to make an all-star team.
For the playoffs, in his absence, Jeff Teague has been a revelation running that show. Karl Anthony Towns this season has taken that step forward everyone anticipated, from just an excellent offensive player to an excellent all-around player. Really, at this point, one of the best players in basketball, certainly top 10. But you could argue this year he's been a top 5-ish kind of player.
I don't think that you can argue that. I'd have to comprise a list, but I don't see any list where Karl Anthony Towns is top 5. And I think top 10 is a stretch.
You consider his impact on both sides of the floor, Stephen A. And obviously Wiggins is an athletic wing. If you look at the history of basketball, including recent history, the championship teams, I know it's thought of point guard and a stretch 4. Nope. The best formula is elite two-way wing and a rim-protecting big. Now, sure, nowadays that rim-protecting big has to be able to shoot from the outside and play all kinds of more sophisticated defense, Karl Anthony Towns, and a two-way wing, Jimmy Butler. Not to mention what Wiggins can do athletically. And if you still need a point guard running the show who can shoot from the outside and be a threat there, make the decision with the ball, get to the paint, be aggressive, that's Jeff Teague. The T-Wolves have everything they need. Are they inexperienced? Yes. Are they still the underdogs? Yes. But they present a bigger challenge to a Steph-less Warriors than the Bucks do to a Kyrie-less Boston Celtics.
I don't know about that. I'd have to see that. But I would pick the Boston Celtics to come out of the first round over the Golden State Warriors, at least in regards to grit. I think that Golden State is going to have a problem in that first round without Steph Curry. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong about both. I would like to see Boston and Golden State in the finals, or Boston and Houston, either matchup. A fully healthy Boston squad against Houston or Golden State, I think, would be the best finals that the NBA could ask for. But it would not shock me at all if Golden State went out in the first round. Just from what I observed while Steph Curry was out, they have very little grit. And they struggle down the stretch of close games when they need someone to take the ball and say, get out my way, and execute. Durant tries to do it, but he gets stuck in the one-on-one mode, and he has too much of a tunnel vision aspect to him in clutch moments where it's very difficult for him to see teammates. He starts taking bad shots, and he has a few too many of those 10 for 30 games when he's asked to do more than what he normally is expected to do. So it's very difficult for him to transition over into different roles.
Celtics.
Well, that's nice. It sounds beautiful. But you know what, Max Kellerman, he's going to get exposed right now, Molly, for the hypocritical tendencies that he periodically throws out there. Because I recall a few months ago where Max Kellerman was talking about how if he had to start a team, it would be with the Greek Freak. You know, that dude in Milwaukee that's averaging 27 and 10, who had the 60 Minutes feature done on him last night, who's one of the premier young thoroughbreds in the NBA right now. He's averaging 27 and 10. Middleton is averaging 20 a game. Jabari Parker is back. Even Tony Snell and guys like that are making a contribution. Eric Bledsoe is averaging 17 a game. Obviously, this all leads to my obvious answer. It wouldn't be the Warriors that would be the obvious choice here. The Boston Celtics would have a better chance of going down in the first round of Milwaukee than I think Golden State would have a fall into Minnesota.
Once again, it would not surprise me if either team or both teams were to be eliminated in the first round. But if I was forced to choose, I would say that the Golden State Warriors are more likely to go down in the first round without Steph Curry than Boston without Kyrie. Now, if Boston can get all their other players back healthy and just be without Kyrie, I would expect them to get out the first round even without Kyrie, from what I've seen from them this season. Especially the way in which their backup point guard has been able to raise his level of play. He's been great on the defensive end as well. Now, Golden State, on the other hand, I don't like what I've seen without Curry.
One of the things about about the Golden State Warriors, let's understand something here. As long as KD and Klay Thompson are back, you're going to score some buckets. You got to score to beat them. Even though Boston's defense is elite, in the same breath, they compromise themselves offensively without the services of a Kyrie Irving. Now, Terry Rozier has played a backup role, and I've been very, very impressed with what I've seen from him.
As have I. Terry Rozier's been excellent.
33 last night, although it was against the Sacramento Kings. That's neither here nor there. The bottom line is Terry Rozier has been playing well.
It doesn't matter that it's against the Sacramento Kings, because to let you guys tell it, De'Aaron Fox was going to be the greatest rookie NBA point guard. Now, if Terry Rozier would have dropped 33 points against Lonzo Ball, I wonder what the headline would have been. Would it have been that Terry Rozier had a great game, or would it have been Lonzo Ball gives up 33 points to a backup point guard?
Well, we look at an Al Horford. We look at the Jason Tatums, the Jaylen Browns of the world. Once Jaylen Brown is healthy and ready to go, with full 100%, that is. Boston is not a team to be ignored. But without Kyrie Irving, I think they're a team that ultimately will struggle offensively. They'll be devoid of an individual to give that you come playoff time. There are always moments like this that arrive. Here's the ball. Take me there. The game is tight. Everybody's going at it. You can't seem to find a rhyme or a rhythm to what you're doing, and you give the ball to that star, your closer,
We know
and
it's
you
fun.
say, take me there. Last time I checked, Kevin Durant, and boy, will the pressure mount on him. Kevin Durant, arguably the second greatest player on the planet. This dude will have some pressure on.
Stephen A. gets so excited to talk about Kevin Durant and put pressure on him that he can't even get his words out.
On him, but he will respond. I think Klay Thompson will respond. I think Draymond Green will respond.
They better. Because let me tell you, the caliber of teams in the Western Conference in the early rounds are going to be better than the caliber of teams that Boston will have to play in the early rounds. I mean, unless Boston draws Philadelphia. And Philadelphia is a team that's on the level of most of the teams in the Western Conference. Philadelphia is my dark horse in the Eastern Conference. As I've stated, it would not shock me if they were able to beat Cleveland in the first round. Wouldn't shock me at all. And in the Western Conference, teams like San Antonio, Minnesota, even Utah are going to give whoever they draw in the first round a run for their money.
Last time I checked, Sean Livingston and Iguodala and those boys have experience. I think Golden State will relatively easily handle their business. The Boston Celtics, really the only dude that's been there is Al Horford. If Kyrie Irving ain't there, so I would definitely tell you that Milwaukee would have a better shot at knocking off Boston than Minnesota would have of knocking off Golden State.
First of all, Milwaukee, Bledsoe's been playing better, but he's had a disappointing season, in fact. Forget about the counting numbers. By the way modern basketball needs to be played, you'd really like more from Bledsoe than you got this year. I like Middleton a lot. He's a very good player. And obviously, the Greek freak is that dude, of course.
The problem with Milwaukee is that they just have a very awkward team. They have too many of the same type of player on their team. They need more shooting, that's for sure. And the Greek freak needs to expand his shooting range as well. The type of player that he is right now is a little bit antiquated, but he's able to get by on his extreme athleticism and his great length. But he needs to expand his outside shooting so that he can spread the court and alleviate some of the pressure that's on many of his other teammates that cannot score and don't have the ability that he has. It would be easier for Thon Maker to score and get easy baskets if the Greek freak was not taking up a lot of the room down low. So it seems to be an issue with team architecture right now. They're going to have to try to get some more shooting. They need a guard who can really shoot. They just need something. I don't know if it's an issue with the kid that they have from Duke who always keeps getting hurt. Maybe they need to move him, Jabari Parker. But there's just something going on with that team. Very strangely built.
Of course, Michael Jordan, when he went bananas as a rookie, he averaged 28 points. Played Boston, they still lost to the Celtics. Just because you have the best player or the player you'd like to build around, the best young player, doesn't mean you're going to advance.
Well, Jordan actually lost to the Celtics in his second year, not his rookie years. Rookie year, they lost to the Bucks in 4 games.
What made Milwaukee different was they had the Greek freak, and then look at that, Thon Maker. He's 7'1". What if he has, and he seems like he can handle for a big guy. And look, his trajectory.
Seems like he can handle for a big guy. He can't even handle the role that they've given him, much less handle the basketball.
Trajectory's taking him up. Had the trajectory continued that way and Thon Maker was developing into a star, you got it. Now I'm saying, hey, the Bucks might be a dynasty, but that has not happened. And if you look at the Celtics and the way they've played, even without Kyrie or Marcus Smart, and if they didn't have Al Horford, they didn't have a million guys, they lost to the Wizards by a point. They then beat the Thunder. They beat the Blazers on the road. The Boston Celtics...
Yeah, that was very impressive. Once again, the Boston Celtics have shown a great deal of grit and pluck throughout this season, no matter who's gone down. That's why I agree with Max Kellerman on this one.
The team Danny Ainge has put together, the way Brad Stevens coaches those guys up, that is a tough-minded team that's able to play at a very high level, even without several of their best players. And the Bucks don't pose the kind of threat that you thought going into the season they might. On the other hand, if you look at Golden State, it's not just Steph's knee now, and he won't be there for the series. Forget him in the first round against the...
Well, allegedly he won't be there in the first round. Please understand that, once again, I bring this up incessantly on this channel. Steve Kerr has a background in psychological manipulation. He understands the importance of taking the pressure off of Steph Curry. If he says that we expect Steph to be back in the first round of the playoffs, or we're hoping, even if he says we're hoping that Steph will be back in the first round of the playoffs, people will be looking for Steph. And he knows that Steph will do his best to try to make the people happy by coming back in the first round, claiming that he's ready. By Steve Kerr stating that there's no way that Steph will be back in the first round, he knows that he's taking a lot of pressure off of Steph Curry. So now if he is able to make an appearance in the first round, say they're down 2-1 or down 3-2, he can come back and look like a hero.
Look, everyone knew when they pulled off that trade for Butler, look out for the T-Wolves. Will they be elite or the next thing to it? They've basically done that. Unlike the Bucks, they've basically now turned into the team you thought they might be, and that's without Jimmy Butler. What about when Butler comes back? Meanwhile, Steph's not going to be there. Klay Thompson hurt his thumb on his right hand, on his shooting hand. Stephen A., I know you've intimated, and I understand what you mean. Kevin Durant with the ribs, Draymond Green with something you can't really verify. Are they just taking a rest? But even if that were true about Draymond and KD, that's your best shooter, Klay Thompson, right thumb on the shooting hand, and you're not going to have Steph, and you're playing a team that's making strides towards the elite. The Warriors are under more.
You don't get to
they're under a bigger
ad-lib.
threat.
You don't get to ad-lib. The question is about what the Warriors would do if they didn't have Steph Curry. So what I'm trying to say is, let's assume that they still have Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson.
I assume they will, but what Klay Thompson will they have?
But what I'm trying, well, listen, you have your reasons, I have mine. I'm looking at the Minnesota Timberwolves, and I'm thinking about Jimmy Butler. Yes, Jimmy Butler's a stud. I got love for Jimmy Butler, but the flip side to it is that when he's there, he might compromise and Andrew Wiggins.
Absolutely, and we don't know what Jimmy Butler they're going to get back. He's coming off a very serious knee injury as well. And once again, the Minnesota Timberwolves have no playoff experience amongst themselves, outside of Jimmy Butler and Tom Thibodeau, who likes to run them into the ground. It's going to be a totally different experience. I mean, they have Jamal Crawford, who has some mileage in the playoffs. They also have Jeff Teague, who's played some rounds in the playoffs, but there's no one there who really understands how to win. And this will be their first time together in the playoffs. So if they do draw the Golden State Warriors, if I were them, I would be happy with that. Because there'd be no pressure on the Minnesota Timberwolves to win, to perform particularly well. Even without Steph, I'm pretty sure that the prognostications will be that they will lose most likely in 6 games. If Steph were playing, it would probably be 5 games or less. So they could pretty much play fancy free and just do whatever they feel like doing out there, execute their sets, and hope for the best. Because I guarantee you, Golden State will be tight in that series. People forget back in 2016 when Steph went out in the playoffs in the first round against the Rockets. In the second round, Golden State was down 2-1 to the Portland Trail Blazers. And Game 4 could have won either way. It was only due to a magnificent performance from Steph Curry that they were able to win in overtime.
is keep in mind that the Karl Anthony Towns and the Andrew Wiggins of the world don't have playoff experience. We're not talking about them going up against a good team. We're talking about them going up against the reigning, defending NBA champions who won two of the last three finals. But excuse me, please. You have I had a debate about that?
Fall in the first round.
Oh, he ain't falling in the first round. Stop the nonsense. You've been in London a little bit too long. Come back to the
Two-way
States.
big rim protector who can also shoot from the outside.
Guys, we'll talk about it
Two-way
more
wing,
later in the
athletic
show.
wing,
You
excellent
keep
point guard.
talking. You keep talking. We ain't talking crickets.
lot more to get
We're
into.
talking basketball.
Yeah.
Stop
Please.
it. Let's go.
I don't think that the term is crickets. I think it's cricket, Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith is trying to get on Max Kellerman because Max Kellerman is on location in London because he was covering the boxing match between Dillian White and Lucas Brown, in which Dillian White knocked out Lucas Brown with the left hook.
Molly, I'm sorry.
Come on now.
This is getting
Come on now. Ain't
expensive.
cricket.
Oh,
Ain't cricket.
Lord. Plenty more coming for you today.
But anyway, we'll see what happens in the playoffs this year. It wouldn't surprise me if there were at least 2 upsets in the first round of the 2018 NBA playoffs. Wouldn't shock me at all. If Golden State were to go down, wouldn't shock me. If Boston were to go down, wouldn't shock me. If Cleveland plays Philadelphia in the first round, if they were to go down, would not shock me. Just wouldn't. I think that the NBA has a very high level of parity this season. I think that a lot of the younger up-and-coming teams have made some strides. Will it be enough to defeat many of the favorites? Who knows? We'll see. But many of these serious injuries have closed the gap. But we'll see. Peace.